This might actually come to a bit of surprise to you all, but you're probably all surprised that this is even going down. Yes, I'm doing a video about Zeus himself from the God of War verse. Surprise, right? I've already done one about Marvel. And to really get a better understanding of this video, I'm going to tell you right off the gate that you do need to check out this video I have of Kratos that I just made. It's very new, so they really give you a further understanding of how strong Zeus is. Also, before I go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to the people that has actually took the time to donate to the channel. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support and all the things. It really helps out. Believe it or not, you really contribute to help the quality on this channel improve. It's easy to lowball God of War characters because, for one, they're not one of those characters where it's, it's a video game. So we haven't really seen no character in the actual verse like literally just say Kamehameha and blast energy blast, and it destroys an entire galaxy, solar system, etc. So on surface, it might look like, oh man, they're only probably mountain level, city busting level when it comes to attack power or blast power or punching power wise, because we ain't seen nobody do a feat, so we can't scale nobody off of nobody, right? But the thing is, there's a ton of writer intent and lore when the mythos in the game's lore, and there's a lot of similarities to the mythology that they're based off of, because we already know how powerful myth Zeus is, right? So I mean, I know these are two different versions of Zeus, but the game is implied by the writers to take a lot of influence of myth when it comes to, Zeus being powerful than certain deities and things like that. Before I get into that, to really get an understanding of how strong these characters in this lore is, including characters like Zeus, we got to get an idea of how strong they are in their lore. For example, the primordials.
In the time before the Titans, before the gods of Olympus, a great battle was waged. The wrath of the primordials. The very beings who forged the earth, raged out of control for an eternity.
Neither Titan nor God, mortal nor shade, the Furies were bound to no one. They were the guardians of honor, the enforcers of punishment, the bane of traitors. When Zeus came to power, he found he had little to fear from the sisters. The Furies sought retribution only for those whom they deemed guilty. The first of these traitors was Aegean the Hecatoncheires. When the brute pledged a blood oath to Zeus, only to later betray the king of the gods, the Furies were quick to take action.
Notice how the Furies are below Zeus, an implication here. Yeah, they obey Zeus' commands. Just to give you an idea of how strong Zeus is as well. Like, as I mentioned in my Kratos video, the primordial battle was cosmic in scale. Uranus is like an actual living universe. Their punches actually create the cosmos, forge the earth, and things like that. You can see it in this actual scan of their, battle, creating stuff as they punch each other apart and things like that. It's a literal cosmic battle. You're probably wondering why all of this is important. Well, it was stated by the Hecatoncheires that primordials created the universe. Father of the universe, those who are born to Uranus, the primordial, have a right to rule his universe, what he created. Similar to the mythology, Kratos actually overthrew like his own father Uranus. You're probably, oh man, he's this strong? Yes, he is. This same guy that we seen pretty much get bullied throughout the God of War verse by Zeus and even Kratos himself. So they just give you an idea of how Zeus is so far, how strong he is. Even in my previous Kratos video, I actually went on how strong Kratos was in that one as well. So check that out for more reference.
You can't beat the Titans. They overthrew their parents, Kronos castrating Uranus and basically overthrowing his parents. He dismembered his own dad, right? He'd been given a special sword and he'd lopped off his member and overthrown his dad, and he didn't want this to happen to him. So he thought the best way to do it would be to, swallow his children.
And then you got this Kronos blade. You have this Kronos blade. He has a remove that refers to it, Betrayal of Uranus, showing that, yeah, he more than likely used this blade in the God of War lore, even though it's a multiplayer weapon. Even though the multiplayer weapons are confirmed to be a part of the lore, by the way. He used this blade to, fight his dad in a cosmic scale battle and win and things like that. So that also proves that. And then you got this overpowered weapon. And the reason why I'm bringing up the weapons is because I'm bringing up weapons that are relatively known to be lesser weapons because I'm gonna bring up the Blade of Olympus in a little bit, because we all know how crazy the Blade of Olympus is. And this is considered like a lower tier weapon, but yet it still was forged inside of the sun's core and it had enough power to bear the weight of the cosmos, aka the universe, on it. And this is not even a top tier weapon in this verse. Zeus created the Blade of Olympus, which is way above this. Like I literally said 2 seconds ago, it is confirmed that the weapons in the multiplayer are confirmed to be in the God of War lore. Even if they wasn't seen in the actual story mode, they still exist in the lore. Because everything doesn't happen on screen, right? There's some battles that we see off screen that's in the lore. Like we ain't seen it in the game, but it's in the game's lore. Yeah, and then we got some word of God statements. The writers of the game, they're stating that the description is true. More confirmation here. You're probably wondering, wait a minute, how does this prove that weapon is low tier compared to the Blade of Olympus? Well, simply because along with characters like Kratos, a being that got defeated by Zeus, which I'm going to get on in a little bit more, he was one of the Titans imprisoned in Tartarus, aka they got defeated by Zeus because Zeus had the Blade of Olympus. And then that Hyperion, the guy that made that spear, is also imprisoned there too in Tartarus. So that lets you know that even though they made a weapon that strong to bear the weight of the cosmos, that still wasn't enough to be a high level status in the God of War verse or overpower Zeus for that matter. And that brings me more on lore for Zeus. Zeus was able to do this with Kronos, and we already let you know that Kronos overthrew his own father, which is basically the living universe, who literally created the universe. Zeus was able to overpower these same beings and imprison them in Tartarus, like I've showed you and said a million times. He forcibly took control of the universe from the Titans in the lore. I don't want to overdo the word of God statements, but then you got another word of God statement confirming that the Olympians and the Titans overthrew. They are as strong as the primordials, the actual living universal level beings and people that created the cosmos and things like that and dimensions. Not to mention in the Great Titan War, you got characters that are supposedly weaker than Zeus that can still overpower characters like Kronos and Power, showing that, yeah, Zeus is above even Hades, and he's able to do this. I mean, Poseidon in himself is really freaking powerful. He even can make avatars in himself, and he's not even above Zeus. Zeus is the king of the deities. Keep in mind that characters like Poseidon can fight other titans like Gaia, the living embodiment of Earth, who is also like considered omnipresent because she knew about Kratos before he even went there. Like she knew about the present Kratos even in the past, that type of weird stuff. Now that you got an idea of how strong these Titans actually are, now you're going to understand why this scene at the beginning of God of War 3 is such a big deal. These Titans all coming after the Olympians, even when they're shorter man, don't even have Ares and stuff like that, still able to hold their ground like all these overpowered Titans. Just completely epic in scope. Zeus coming out there. Poseidon in his own is a beast. Poseidon himself showing his raw power, yet listening to Zeus's command. As you can see, he does this to one of the Titans with ease, just completely one-shots them, showing that they are implied to be above even the Titans in this verse. And then I already showed just like literally earlier in this video, so yeah, Zeus is above them. He did this to Kronos, so then there's that. Being in a God of War verse that's extremely powerful, he has a lot of different abilities, being able to grow in size, shape shift, energy projection, lightning ability, power to bestow, power draining, power nullification, telekinesis, telepathy. It's just like, man, what can you not do? I mean, he's part of the reason why Kratos has gotten stronger over the years, because throughout the game, some of these power-ups were actually from Zeus. Crazy, right? Like when he went to them temples and some of the puzzles in the game, some of those power-ups actually helped Kratos out. I bet he's regretting that now, though.
Kratos, I do not need your help, Zeus. I can take down this beast. I offer you more than help, Kratos. I offer you power. I offer you the Blade of Olympus. It was this blade that ended the Great War and defeated the Titans. Drain your godly powers into the sword, Kratos. Drain your godly powers into the sword, Kratos. Drain your godly powers into the sword, Kratos. Only then will you reach your full potential. Why do you aid me now?
Yeah, he actually has the Blade of Olympus able to actually drain people's ability thanks to his mystical properties and all the different reality weapon stuff that Zeus can do.
Bloodied and beaten, he knew that to have any hope of survival, he must retrieve the Blade of Olympus.
What power could possibly defeat the God of War? I am the king of Olympus.
Like I said before, Zeus and mythological Zeus are two different beings. That is true, but there's very heavy implication that they're trying to make a lot of things similar. Like just like in the myth, it's identical in how Zeus overpowered Kratos and things like that, and Kratos overpowering his dad and things like that.
Story of revenge has been told before. You know of the mighty titan Kronos. So fearful was Kronos of the oracle's prediction that his own children would rise against him, that he decided to imprison them all in his belly. Rhea stood by and watched as her children were devoured one by one. But when the time came for the last of her children to be eaten, she was unable to bear another such loss, and devised a trick to save the baby Zeus. Rhea commanded the eagle to secret her son.
God of War seems to have a legacy of fathers and sons betraying one another, so I can see why he would want to get rid of Zeus at a young age by imprisoning him in his belly so they don't have to deal with that. I could definitely understand that, right? It's ironic that Gaia actually was the one to take care of Zeus as he grew up through the years, and they ended up becoming enemies to each other. The irony, you gotta love it. Zeus and his all raw power.
But my foolish act of compassion would haunt the Titans forever. For in sparing Zeus, we allowed him to return to us with vengeance in his heart. He betrayed all of the Titans for the sins of just one. The sins of his father, Kratos.
Zeus ended up betraying him, and all because he thought the other Titans would do the same thing as his father Kratos. It's crazy, right? Doggone it, Kratos.
Blade of Olympus. I have not heard that name in many years. Since the end of the Great War. Bloodlust and power raged within Zeus. His desire to rule over mortals was intolerable to us. The war between the Titans and the Olympians forged the landscape of the mortal world. It was a war that we knew the Titans must win. If we lost, it would mean an end to the golden age of the Titan rule. Peace and prosperity for mankind would be no more.
Zeus seems to have some pretty decent reality warping and matter manipulation to the point where he literally made like this little thunderstorm forged from the heavens and the earth, made a weapon, the Blade of Olympus, as we all know and love.
The battle continued despite my capture. Then Zeus created a powerful weapon to end the Great War. A weapon forged from the heavens and the earth. The Blade of Olympus. I banish you to the darkest pits of Tartarus! In the torment of the underworld, banished to the darkest pits of Hades.
Please keep note that Zeus's weapon was so much more powerful than anything the Titans have ever had. The Titans actually had their own weapons, like I showed you, that weapon that was able to bear the weight of the cosmos. Weapons like that was still nothing because that didn't really turn the tide, because Zeus still was able to banish them in the pits of Tartarus with this Blade of Olympus, showing the level of power he's on. The Titans had weapons like this at their disposal, but this didn't help even the odds against the Blade of Olympus, showing that, yeah, it's definitely above this, and this still had the power to bear the weight of the cosmos. I'm just saying. This basically just means the weapon that Zeus made, stronger than a weapon that can bear the weight of the universe, meaning it's above the universe, that type of thing. But yeah, we all know the inevitable end of Zeus. We know Zeus ends up getting overpowered by Kratos himself, the man, the myth, the legend himself. But with that being said, he's definitely the second strongest being in the verse, right? That's fair enough, right? But even then, and even though Kratos had the Blade of Olympus, showing that how much what his status was as a deity, even in their fight with Kratos, it does seem like a couple times in their fight, Zeus was able to take a few attacks and get stabbed a few times by the Blade of Olympus itself, one of the powerful weapon in the verse, probably the second after Pandora's box amp, and was still able to get back up over and over again and even overpower Kratos at the beginning of God of War 3. So that is letting you know his status as the Olympian deity. And he seems to have really good regeneration. No, legit, he has really good regeneration. Has literally been impaled by the Blade of Olympus. Like a few times, but it didn't kill him though. It happened more than one time, but Zeus still didn't go down for good. No, seriously. And it's like seemingly fine after being saved in this occasion though. He's not really life-threateningly dead. You know, he's not on death's door. No, seriously, all of this, he still didn't die from all of this. He got overpowered here, but he didn't actually die from this. Not to mention the explosion from the Blade of Olympus, mixed with Gaia's heart, like all of that. Not to mention he's actually gotten slugfest with Kratos himself. Even though Kratos eventually won, of course we know that for sure because we know how all of this ends. He still went up against Kratos though. Yeah, there's a fun fact a lot of people might not notice because they're so, just stuck on Kratos because he's the main character and stuff. This could actually slip your mind, or you can easily not pay attention to something, a little detail like this. But do you remember at the beginning of God of War 3, aka God of War 2, in God of War 2, it was implied, even in God of War 2, that with all of this stuff Kratos had acquired and how strong Kratos has gotten, in God of War 2, at the end of it, it was implied that Zeus might have been too much because in that same fight, Kratos actually had to use trickery and act like he was going to submit to Zeus to get the upper hand because their battle was so epic in scale. Zeus got big and started shooting lightning at him. Kratos had to literally state, I lay down my arms like, oh shoot, I got to find a way to beat this dude is too much. A lot of people seem to miss this fact about Zeus.
I am through playing with your Kratos. I am through playing with your Kratos. I am through playing with your Kratos.
Notice how he said playing with him, all of that, like him getting impaled a couple times was what, playing with him, he says?
I lay down my arms, Zeus! I lay down my arms, Zeus! I lay down my arms, Zeus!
Yeah, you heard Kratos say it like that. It was implied that, at this point, it might have, even with the Blade of Olympus, it was implied that he might have been too much for him at this point.
Your torment is just beginning.
Yeah, as you know, he got the advantage over him there. But remember at the beginning, even after the events of this, even though he got the help of the Titans, Blade of Olympus, got all the way to the top of the Blade of Olympus in God of War 3. Yeah, in the beginning of God of War 3, they actually fought their way up Olympus, fighting Titans, Kratos and Gaia and things like that. But they actually get to the very top. Now, fighting Poseidon in the process. No, he literally fought Poseidon, the deity. Kratos was that strong to overpower Poseidon himself. And that's saying a lot considering what Poseidon has done to Titans, who all should be in the universal plus ranges of power because they're above the primordials. They overthrew the primordials, same with Zeus and etc. Zeus is above Poseidon, but yet Kratos was able to do this to Poseidon in the game, but he couldn't do the same thing to the Zeus at the beginning of this game until later on. Still can match him in strength though, but yeah, he couldn't actually just overpower him like this.
I will have my revenge! Petulant child! I will tolerate your insolence no more!
Yeah, it was definitely some implication that they wasn't ready yet. Plus, it was convenient for the plot, so we can, have a longer game rather than end the game in the very beginning. That type of thing. Kratos ended up getting new equipment, new gear, power up to go fight him again later in the end of the game. But it was definitely implications at the end of God of War 2 and the beginning of God of War 3 that Zeus might have actually had a pretty decent advantage over Kratos. But no, not an astronomical one, because we all know what happens. Like, Hades, right? The person that's below Zeus. Zeus did. I just showed you what Zeus just did to Kratos at the beginning of God of War 3. But tell me why, like I told you like a million times, Kratos gets stronger as time goes by. And there was a time where even Hades' wife was a pretty decent challenge for Kratos during that time period. And Zeus is above that same being. Not to mention in the God of War lore, there's actually this gauntlet known as the Gauntlet of Zeus. This was the gauntlet used to chain all the Titans. So yeah, that just further implication of the gear and stuff Zeus has that's in his name and being the king of Olympus and things like that. If I'm being honest, this is probably one of the coolest looking weapons in God of War. I wish they brought this back. The goddess of the underworld. Zeus is even above beings like this, the goddess of the underworld. She was pretty powerful. She gave Kratos a pretty decent fight as well. But guys, there's a lot of Zeus-oriented stuff in this game. Yeah, of course, the strongest being in the verse, second strongest after Kratos in his prime after the Pandora's box, and he was ridiculously overpowered, took multiple stabs, stronger than all of the gods of Olympus, like Hades, Poseidon, who got beat to death by Kratos. But yet he was getting stabbed by the blade of Olympus multiple times. He overthrew his father, who overpowered the universe itself, living the personification of the universe. Uranus and Zeus is above them, forcibly overthrew the Titans in the Great War, created a weapon strong enough to banish all the Titans in chains to the point where they could not even be free, and they just completely got captured. You got characters like Atlas, who Zeus should be comparable in power or power output in general, who got banished as well by Zeus, and the Gauntlet of Zeus, the chains of Tartarus, and all this crazy godlike stuff, and Zeus is the king of the deities and things like that. It was even implied a couple times throughout the career of him being stronger than Kratos himself until Kratos got more powerful as time went on and things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed my little feat run on Zeus. I know this is a little different. I don't think nobody on YouTube has ever done this because everything is about Kratos. I just wanted to give a little understanding of how strong Zeus actually is. And the crazy part is this video actually piggybacks off my other recent Kratos vid I made to show Kratos off in that. So they actually went in more detail on that. So watch that and this one put together. It can piggyback off each other. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Did you guys enjoy this? Do you guys know Zeus from God of War was this strong? I hope you guys found this informative, and I hope I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you check out those playlists, post some comments down below. Let me know what you all think and all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys later.